Hey, stay tuned while we fix Redneck Supreme. And the noise today, this tensioner pulley down here, it's worn out and it's bouncing up and down and making squeaking noises, and this belt's starting to get worn out, so that's what we're going to pull and replace. This is something you can do on any vehicle. It's very simple. You simply take a breaker bar. Sometimes you'll need a socket. Sometimes they will just be a square size that fits a breaker bar, 3/4, 1/2 inch, whatever. Hang on, I'm trying to do this one-handed for you guys. You get that on there, and you see it just moves out of the way so you can slide the belt off. Then once you move that out of the way, you're going to take a ratchet. In this case, it's going to be a T50 point. You're going to put it right down there where it mounts into, and just ratchet it lefty-loosey, pull it off, put the new one on, and then put the new belt on. And you might want to take a picture of the way your belt's routed. This one happens to have it right here. One reason why I like Fords is there's a lot of space right here. You have the radiator and the fan right here, and you have a lot of space to get stuff in. See, we've already done a pulley in this pump down here, the power steering pump. You see a new line, couple of new lines down there, pressure and return line. I didn't do a video of that because it's kind of a pain in the ass, and if you don't know what you're doing, it can go wrong. But this is something simple anybody can do to change a belt and tensioner. I recommend when you start changing pulleys, or you have to change a belt, to do the tensioner as well at the same time. Don't buy the little pulley, just buy the whole assembly of the tensioner and replace it at once. They're cheap. So here we go. Alright, we're just going to do this in real time. Now you might need a hammer. If you have a breaker bar that's not a ratcheting breaker bar, that's a solid one, and you have a part that won't move, you might have to take the hammer, knock it loose. Make sure you have tension on it when you do it, and just smack the end. Now we're going to pull this belt off real quick. Come on, there we go. Got the belt off. And now it should slide enough out of the way to get this on. And I'm just going to use this, since this is a ratcheting breaker bar. I'm just going to pop it on there. Now you're going to want to use a long handle ratchet if you can on this, or something like this. I have no idea how tight this is going to be, so we'll find out. And the other thing about this is why I like old Fords, is you have a lot of space to work on all the accessory drive stuff out here. Belts, pulleys, tensioner pulleys, alternators, all that stuff's easy to change out. You can do it yourself. Let's give this a crank. Nope, there it goes, already broke loose. And the other reason I like this for some other vehicles where they don't have space, you might have to take the belt or the radiator out to get to it. They also have these thin little bars for changing your belts for the tensioners, and they're really thin, flat metal, and they're always welded on really crappy. So when you get on there and you put some torque on it, they tend to fucking snap off, and you got to go buy another one. So always use a real breaker bar if you can. This is going to take a minute. This is going just a little bit at a time, but it's going. It's a lot easier than the alternative if you don't have a long handle ratchet. This is why I bought this breaker bar. See, swap it out. I can probably get some more throw on this ratchet. Trick is just getting your hands down there so you can catch it and avoiding this line. Yeah, I'm getting a lot better turn on this guy. Almost to the point where I can finger it out. Come on, come loose. Oh yeah, there it goes. It's starting to come loose. Almost there. As you can see, here's the old one. It's really worn out, spring's worn out. And what happens with these is when they start to go, they'll squeak intermittently. Maybe not at full throttle or when you have your when you're sitting at idle, but kind of when you're accelerating, and then you'll see them when they start getting worse, they'll bounce. The belt will sit there and bounce. It'll just bounce up and down. You'll see the belt doing this. That's when you know it's bad. So super easy to fix and swap out. Now we just put the other one in. And the only thing really is lining this bolt up, because it's kind of blind. You're not really going to see what you're doing. In fact, just to get it lined up, to make it easier, I'm going to grab a little extension to put this on so I can finger it in. Where are the extensions? Well, that wasn't it. That's not it. I know there's some in here. There's one. There we go. Found the extension. So what you're going to do is when you're just trying to get it lined up, you're going to stick that in there with the extension and just twist it like that until you get it to catch some threads. And it gets a little tight, and then you put the ratchet back on there. Just trying to get it lined up in the hole, like everything else in life. Might have it. I think that's it. We'll find out. Man. And 1 second. That took some fiddling with. One thing I noticed is that there's a notch here where you line up just to the left of the bracket for alignment. The replacement did not have that, so you got to double check these things and make sure you're installing it correctly. I've installed a few of these on different vehicles, and I haven't ran into that issue yet, so that's something to keep in mind. Now we're just gonna get this back on here. Man, I wish I had a ratchet with a long handle. That ratcheting breaker bar is great, but it doesn't get much of a throw on it. There we go, it's starting to go on now. Sometimes you just gotta fiddle with it. Seems to be a slight issue. There we go. Now it's cranking down. Seems to be going on a little bit better here. Sometimes those old threads get a little funky and you gotta put it in, back it out, put it in so it'll grab a bit, clean up them threads. I don't have a tap and die set with me to clean them up right now. And you're just going to watch the whole thing go back slowly until it's completely lined up to the wall. As it's doing right now. And you're going to keep cranking it down. Ooh. Spring made noise. Springy. Okay, now it's kind of sticking now. You got two options. You can take the breaker bar, give it the old German torque, or you can look in the Chilton's or Haynes manual for an actual torque spec for this, which is what I'm gonna do. I don't like doing a German torque unless we're on the road and we don't have things available to us, which is part of the reason I carry a torque wrench in my kits. I'll spare you looking it up in the book. So the book has no torque spec for the tensioner, so we're just gonna give it a little bit, but not too much because you don't want to shear it off in there. So we're gonna go with the ratchet, not the breaker bar. Just give it a little bit. I think that's good. Just anchor your fingers and use your thumb just to give it a little torque. If you just grab it and pull on there and use your arm, you could shear that bolt off inside the block and then you're really fucked. So now we're gonna put this socket back on here. Move the tensioner down. So crank it to the left and that pulley goes down and you can slip the belt on. You gotta get the old belt off first actually. And then pull it yet. Pull it out around the belt or around the fan. And pull it straight out. So you might have to slip it over a fan blade to get it out. There's the old belt. here's the new belt. Hopefully this thing doesn't want to twist on me when I'm putting it on here. And get it just around that fan blade without damaging it. Yep, right there. I'm going to feed it in there. You can see which pulleys feed into the grooves. There we go. Now I got the belt in there. Now the new belts are a bit stiff. They can be a pain to get lined back up, but you just got to fiddle with it. Now, I recommend looking at the picture and getting the bottom ones lined up first. And give me 5 minutes and I'll have this thing put on. Okay, now that I've got that routed on, took a couple minutes of finagling around the fan. I want you to see something. See down there? You route it just like the picture there. Do the bottom first, work your way up, and then you look at it. You get your breaker bar locked in there, holding it somewhat tight, because you're going to turn it to the left, move this tensioner back down and slip the belt on over it. But you want to make sure it's lined up on everything else first. Then when you slip the belt on, go back and double check everything and then leave your bar on so you can take the tension off, move the belt around, make sure all the grooves and everything are lined up. So let's get this on. Here we go. Oh, it helps if I adjust the ratchet to the right setting. Sure I got all the tension I need, and work it on with your hand and thumb. It's going to be a bit tight, but that's a good thing, right? I gotta get a little more relief on it so I'm not pressing against that line. And I can see down there, as I was putting it on the pulley, it slipped off this one out of these V grooves a little bit. And that's what you do. You just check. Make sure it's all lined up where it's supposed to be. Go back through, double check the bottom. And there we go. Get my tools and stuff out of here. Should always have one of these for every vehicle you're working on. So now's the moment of truth. Does it start up? See that? No bouncing. No squealing. No squeaking, no squealing, no bouncing. And that's how it's done. Or not. If you're a professional mechanic, which I am not, and you do it another way, let me know down in the comments. Hope you guys enjoy the video.